Do you ever hit mid-afternoon, feel completely exhausted, try to take a nap and end up feeling groggy and worse than before? And then you're just trying to get through the rest of the day without really getting your energy back. The problem is not that naps don't work. The problem is that most people are not napping correctly. They're choosing the wrong type of nap for the wrong situation. In this video, I'll show you how to nap in a way that actually restores your energy so that you can get through the day feeling functional and, most importantly, without compromising tonight's sleep. We're going to break down why your brain needs a nap, the nap menu to choose from, including my personal favorite from years working night shifts as a surgeon in the hospital, and how to choose the right nap for your situation. My name's Nina, I'm a doctor and a mum of 3, and I share evidence-based strategies to live your best life in midlife. Let's get to it. I think there is this prevailing idea that naps somehow are related to laziness, or that we should be able to power through the day without taking a nap, without needing extra sleep. Some people wear 5 hours of sleep as a badge of honor, but it's not. Even when the sleep is fragmented or restricted. It shouldn't be, should we nap? It should be, how do we nap more effectively? How do we harness the power of naps so that we can get everything done that we need to? Humans are not really designed to have one continuous block of sleep. There is a natural dip in alertness throughout the afternoon. A lot of people call it the mid-afternoon slump, and it might happen at a slightly different time depending on the person. But this is not laziness. This correlates to a circadian rhythm shift in our temperature, in our alertness, and our cognitive performance. Many European cultures have historically had a siesta or a nap time built into their day and completely normalized a nap or a period of rest in the afternoon in order to come back feeling more energized. And although modern life to some extent has taken this away, it's still common in some places of Spain, for example, to see people taking a siesta in the middle of the day. And I think even our modern culture is waking up to the power of a nap. I hear at Google they have sleep pods, which are small pods where people can go in, have a nap or have a period of quietness and come back to work probably happier, more rested and more productive. If it's good enough for Google, it's good enough for me. But if you're watching this, I'm assuming there's a high chance you don't work at Google with all their fancy employee perks. So let's break down the different types of nap and when you should use them, including my Nina Night Shift special. So let's start with the most straightforward and probably the best known nap strategy there is, because maybe you don't have time for a longer sleep in the middle of the day. Maybe you have something that you need to quickly be ready for, whether that be a meeting, whether it be the school run, whether it just be making important decisions. You need a quick way to get your energy back without it making you feel too groggy afterwards or affecting your sleep tonight. This is where the power nap comes in. I also like to call it the reset nap. This is a short 10-20 minute max nap that you can slot into your day without leaving you feel too groggy afterwards. This is best when you need to function soon afterwards, when you're feeling low focus or low energy. Typically during the mid-afternoon slump. But warning, do not take this type of nap after 3 p.m. if you don't want it to affect your night's sleep. But what about those days when you don't just have a mid-afternoon slump? You're not just feeling a little bit tired or a little bit low on energy. You are properly sleep deprived from the night before. You're running on empty. And a short nap is not going to cut it. You need something more, but you don't have enough of a time period to have a really restorative nap with a buffer afterwards to deal with the post-nap grogginess that you're going to have with that longer nap. So it becomes a trade-off between deeper recovery and how you'll feel afterwards. And this is where the recovery nap comes in. If you sleep for between 30 and 60 minutes, you should be able to get near enough a full cycle of sleep and feel more restored than you would with a power nap, and try to minimize the sleep inertia that's going to come with a longer sleep. You will have some level of sleep inertia, which is a fancy term for grogginess afterwards. You do need to build in some kind of buffer for after you wake up, just in case you feel groggy. So don't take this type of nap immediately before driving or doing something that requires a lot of attention. We're going to talk about how to deal with sleep inertia or grogginess after the next type of nap. And then there's days when it's not just a little bit of tiredness, but this is days, weeks of poor sleep. Maybe you're a new parent, maybe you're working night shifts and you're dealing with school runs, or you've just got a busy job and you're really struggling to sleep at night because of everything you have to do. And this is impacting you on a much deeper level level. You probably feel persistently drained despite all of the things that you're trying to do. Short naps might stop working for you or making any kind of noticeable difference. Your brain feels slower, your patience is thinner. You need something that actually restores you rather than just revives you temporarily. And this is where the recovery nap comes in. If you can sleep for a full 90 minutes, you will complete a full cycle of sleep, allowing your brain to regenerate on a much deeper level than you get from a short power nap. You can use this when you are ill, when you're doing night shifts. It's really good if you have significant sleep debt or you're depleted in some way. And then there's this special type of nap that actually has really good evidence from trials and is also tried and tested by yours truly, as I said, through many, many years of night shifts. And this is a combination of the power nap and the power of caffeine. Put them together, caffeine nap. This is for those times when you need to be alert quickly. You cannot risk post-nap grogginess, but you need something more than just caffeine, when neither a simple nap nor a coffee alone will work. So you combine the power of the two. In night work research, randomized controlled trials have shown this type of nap to be effective at improving psychomotor vigilance, concentration, alertness, and it's my favorite type when I need to do something important but I'm also feeling really fatigued. You combine 100 to 200 milligrams of caffeine, that might look like a shot of espresso or a mug of instant coffee, and then you nap for between 5 to 20 minutes afterwards. This will allow your brain to go into restorative state, and the caffeine will peak on waking to act as a buffer for any grogginess that you might suffer afterwards, allowing you to wake up alert but also rested. But even with caffeine and proper timing of naps, most people will wake up with some form of sleep inertia. So what might be some strategies that we can help to deal with that? The first thing I would do is to always build in a wake up buffer to whatever kind of sleep that you have. 5 to 15 minutes before you need to do anything really important or that requires a certain level of safety, like driving, to activate your brain into wakefulness afterwards. So my favorite way is with some form of exercise. If I'm inside, star jumps, running on the spot. If you can combine that with bright light, so step outside of the room, go for a brisk walk for 5 minutes, get that sunlight in your eyes. Bright light and movement is the best way to manage post-nap grogginess or sleep inertia. So with all these different options, how do we choose the right one for the right situation? Because when you're exhausted, you don't have time to overthink it. You need the nap menu. And the key is to match the type of nap with your level of tiredness and how quickly you need to function again. If you need a quick fix, a power nap is your go-to. More recovery and more time, a recovery nap is your go-to. If you have the luxury of time and you are running on empty, completely depleted, go for the restorative, full 90-minute cycle nap. But remember to always build in that buffer for sleep inertia. Once you start using naps strategically and start being able to choose the one that matches your energy and the time, you will see how it can completely change how you feel afterwards. Let me know in the comments whether you nap usually or which type of nap you might take today, and I'll see you in the next one.